My name's Adrienne Mercer-Breen. I live in the Nanaimo. I've lived here since 2004 and I've been familiar with the area since probably about 1999. Moved here as a single person and now I've got a teenager, a preteen, amazing husband who plays in the band, and lots of fun in and about the scene.
What is your connection to the music scene here?
Well, it's kind of funny because I worked at CFUV in Victoria in the mid to late 90s, and so I was familiar with Nanaimo as a place where, you know, good music was coming from. I knew that Nanaimo had a lot of really great jazz happening. In the record library, I could find like the Papalomas were everywhere, and there were lots of compilations that included Nanaimo or came out of Nanaimo. And yeah, Lance Rock Records was really big at the time, and just really felt like Nanaimo was kind of a cool music place. And then I ended up moving to Parksville, and I should back up and say I lived in the Kootenays, and I had a friend from Nanaimo who told me, oh, I'm going to connect you with my friends who run a record store in Nanaimo and they can send you things, because I didn't really have any place to get music. So that was Black Ball Records, which was on Fitzwilliam Street. And so I used to order CDs from them now and again, and they'd stuff the envelope full of Pure Magazine, any other local magazines that talked about gigs and music and art, things like that. And eventually I was lucky enough to move back to the island to Parksville, and I started driving down to go to shows in the big harbor city.
What will the archive mean to future generations?
Well, the way I see it, I always like cataloging things I've done, places I've been, and knowing who connects with whom and how everything all fits together. And so always with bands and with music, I'm always the person who's like wondering, well, what bands were all of the people in this band in before, and how did they all connect, and did they ever play gigs together, and that kind of thing, and who mentored this artist that I really like, and you know, how was there crossover between jazz and indie rock and those kinds of things. And so like now that I'm older, I realize that, you know, what I have as a memory, like there's people in the scene who might not have been born yet or who were really little kids. And then there's the sort of college university cycle where people might cycle in and out of town over like 4 to 5 year sort of periods and might not be familiar with what came before or might not know what they influenced after. And so I feel like that is a really big part of it, is just having that common thread. And I see it with my own family. Like my daughter really likes this one performer, Charlotte, and they were in a band called Pale Red. And we went to Backyard Fest a couple of years ago, and we were at the final band, and my daughter said, I really like this band, I really like them, and it was Fine. And of course Charlotte was in Fine as well, and so, you know, that was really kind of cool to see that and think, well, maybe one day she'll be tracking back and looking at those performers, and she'll be the one figuring out where they come from and what they've done before, and maybe the archive will be a part of that for her.